I have spent the last week playing Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and I have so much to share with you guys about this game. Oh, whoa! Okay, that's brutal. Today's video is going to be spoiler free. I'm going to avoid as many plot details as possible. It's going to be a lot more focused on gameplay mechanics, the open worlds, the planets you'll be exploring, the lightsaber stances, the companion system, and so much more. This game is overwhelming. I was lucky enough to get an early code from EA, thanks to them for allowing me to play this game early, and even though I've had this game for a week, I still feel like I've barely scratched the surface. Also, if you have any questions about the game, please leave them down below, and please subscribe. I've got so many more Jedi Survivor videos coming out over the next few weeks, few days. Also, I'm going to be giving away a few copies of the game. Come follow me on Instagram, and I'll be announcing the giveaways after the game releases over there. Follow me at Bombastic and keep an eye out for the giveaways. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. It's honestly hard knowing where to start with a video like this. I've captured hours and hours of gameplay footage, and there's so much to show you guys. So let's begin with some general details about the planets and open world. I'm yet to finish the main story of the game, but so far I've been to a total of 4 planets. Those include Kobo, a moon of Kobo, Jetta, and Coruscant, which is where the game opens. You can return to each of these planets at a certain point in the story. I was really worried after I completed kind of the hour-long or so prologue of the game on Coruscant that I wouldn't be able to come back here, similar to what Bracca was like in the first game. That's not the case. After a certain point in the story, the option opens up to return to Coruscant. The biggest world, I think, is definitely Kobo, which is the hub world, which is where Greezer's Cantina is, which is where you can purchase a bunch of cosmetic upgrades, which I'll talk about soon. But there's also way more of Jeddah than I was ever expecting. The planet is incredibly expansive, and to make your way across its deserts, I'd recommend you ride one of these mounts, which are actually called spammels. It's like a camel, but in space. A spammel. It was also really cool as you're exploring these open worlds, a bunch of enemies are kind of just roaming around. For example, on Jeddah, there's ATSTs walking around with a bunch of stormtroopers, and at any one point, you can just go up to them, take them out, or you can try and avoid their path and move around them. Side quests exists on pretty much every planet I've been to so far. I don't know about Coruscant. Coruscant is much more linear than the other planets, but everywhere else, there are other NPCs I could talk to who would be like, hey, here's a side quest for you. And sometimes I would only get a side quest after pressing the dialogue option multiple times on the same NPC. You'd go talk to the NPC, they'd say some random stuff, then I'd press the button again, then they'd be like, oh, here's a side quest for you. When you get given a side quest, the NPC will basically tell you a rumor about a certain location on the map, which you can then later go and visit to discover whatever it is that's there. And that can be anything from a beast you might have to fight to another NPC you might get to interact with, to a customization upgrade, to more stims for BD1, the list goes on. I've now played with all 5 lightsaber stances in Jedi Survivor. Each of them is incredibly different to the other and feels like its own thing. I wouldn't say any are better than the other. Each definitely has its strengths and weaknesses. But that said, I definitely have my preferences. I found myself still leaning towards the single-bladed lightsaber stance, which has been upgraded and evolved since the first game. And also the dual wield was lots of fun just because it's so fast and looks epic spinning 2 sabers at the same time. And I really liked the blaster stance as well. It's definitely different to anything you've played before in a Jedi game like this. There's no aim down sights. Basically, the triangle button becomes the shoot button, and it shoots at whichever enemy is closest or whichever one you're locked onto. You can tie this in with combo moves with your lightsaber, and the blaster basically works on a cooldown which gets exhausted after you shoot all your blasts, and will only replenish after you attack enemies with your lightsaber. It also has a charged blast feature, which if you hold triangle will shoot a more powerful blast. The crossguard stance I haven't used a lot of just because I didn't really like the way it played. It's incredibly slow and feels like it makes the saber super heavy. That said, it's great for breaking the guard of an enemy and also does a lot of damage when compared to the other stances. Now, as you probably know, each of these stances you can upgrade on the skill tree, which I found incredibly overwhelming. You kind of have to choose where you put your skill points pretty wisely. You can reset them at any point you want and then reallocate them to a different stance if you want to try something else. But I found myself only really using my skill points to upgrade the stances that I was enjoying using. And upgrading the stances basically gives you more variety in combo moves. You get more combos, you get more aggressive attacks, you get some jump attacks, and there's more that I'm yet to unlock. I'm likely going to do a full breakdown of each saber stance on the channel and compare them against one another, so keep an eye out for that. The companion system, guys, oh my gosh. Fighting alongside an AI, whether that's Bo Dakuna or Merrin, is so satisfying. On the PlayStation controller, you hold R1 and press square for a combat assist, and your AI partner will either immobilize the enemy or attack them themselves. They also do some work on themselves. There was one moment I was fighting alongside Boda Kuna. I was focused on one enemy and he was fighting, I think, 2 BX commando droids. He killed them both on his own. They're actually useful. They don't just sit there like a useless NPC. And there were times when I was having trouble against certain enemies and then you fight the same enemies with your companion partner and it was so much easier. The game has 5 different difficulties. I'm playing on Jedi Padawan, which is the second easiest. Before that is story mode, which is just super easy from what I've heard. Then there's Jedi Padawan, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, and Jedi Grandmaster, otherwise known as the rage-inducing stance. The companions aren't available throughout the whole game. They'll only come in and out of certain sections of each mission. But I'm assuming later on in the game, in perhaps a practice arena mode, you'll be able to fight alongside them and test out your abilities whenever you like. I know everyone keeps talking about customization in this game, but it is actually legitimately ridiculous. First up, let's talk about customizing Cal. You'll find different clothing items for him throughout the worlds in crates, or you can also purchase some of them from Doma Dendra's store at Rambler's Reach on Kobo. You can find haircuts and beards throughout the world as well. You can't customize specific items of clothing, like you can't change his shoes. It's more his pants will change his entire lower half. You can change his undershirt and you can also change his jacket. But that said, each individual customization option also comes with a variety of colors. Before we talk more about the customization options in the game, I think we should talk about the currencies. So far, I found 3 different currencies in the game. There are priorite shards, which are the ones you use to purchase options from Doma Dendra's store. And this could include anything from haircuts to Cal's clothing items to new songs for the Cantina DJ. There's one option to buy in Doma Dendra's store, which is going to cost you 10 priorite shards, which opens Doma Dendra's back room. All you get in there is another stim for BD1. I made that mistake. It was the first thing I bought. Not such a bad thing to buy. It's come in handy in combat, but I would have rather have bought some long hair for Cal, for example, instead of spending all my shards in the one go. Then we have data cards, the currency you use to buy things at Z's shop, which is located upstairs in the cantina. Here you'll buy things like customization options for BD1 and also perks, which I'll talk about soon. And then we have Jetta Scrolls, which so far I'm pretty sure you can only actually find on Jetta, which allow you to purchase lightsaber customization options at Sister Task's store. The Haxian Brood bounty hunters from Jedi Fallen Order are back, but there's a difference. You can actually go to hunt down bounty hunters. There's a bounty hunting system built into the game, which kind of reminds me of something from Red Dead Redemption. A few hours into the game, you'll come across one of the Haxian Brood bounty hunters on Kobo, and after you defeat him, we'll be approached by this now Tolan bounty hunter, and she'll tell you about tracking bounties for rewards. There's actually a tree of bounty hunters which you have to go and hunt down in a certain order to then face legendary bounties, which I think will have special rewards. I'm yet to even go on one of these bounty hunting missions. I've been too involved in trying to get the actual story finished, but learning that this is in the game, so exciting. It's like you're playing The Mandalorian, but you're playing as a Jedi. Now, alongside stances, there's also a completely new perk system, which allows Cal to equip certain passive abilities. You have 3 slots to use for perks. Some of them only cost 1 slot, but some cost all 3, like that blaster perk. And using certain perks will help you refine your playstyle. For example, the resilience perk allows Cal to block for a longer amount of time. The dexterity perk makes lightsaber throws more powerful, and the marksmanship perk makes Cal's blaster shots do more damage when you're using the blaster stance. Now, some other details about the game I think you guys will find interesting. The photo mode is back and more extensive than the first game. You activate it by pausing the game first and then go into it from there. Let's talk more about Cal's force powers and movement abilities. Platforming in Jedi Survivor is much more advanced than in Fallen Order. You get the grapple in the game pretty early, I think within the first half an hour, and then later on also unlock a dash among a few other abilities which allow you to scale the world a lot further and faster and get to areas that you couldn't previously reach. If you head down one path on a certain map and find you can't go any further, it's likely because you haven't unlocked the ability to go there yet. So play more of the main story first and come back at a later point when Cal is upgraded and you can move around a lot easier. If you upgrade some of your force abilities on the skill tree, one of my favorites was that you can grab multiple stormtroopers or enemies at the same time. A few hours into the game, you also unlock kind of a suspend force power, which kind of reminds me of something from The Force Unleashed. Cal will suspend enemies in the air and leave them floating there at his mercy. And from here, you can pretty much do what you want. You can shoot him with your blast, you can attack him with your lightsaber, you can push him off a cliff. The new mind trick ability is also heaps of fun. Seeing enemies fight against one another, seeing stormtroopers shoot their fellow stormtroopers, or even sometimes just letting the enemies kill themselves when they're already attacking each other in the world, and then pushing them back into the fun when the result is isn't going your way. I'm going to be making so many more videos on Jedi Survivor and also have a full walkthrough coming out. Keep an eye out for that. So please subscribe if you want to see more. Also, if there are any videos you want to see me make, let me know in the comments. Any details you want to know, let me know, and I'll try and address them in a future video. Watch this video here for more about Jedi Survivor. Don't forget to come follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Discord, TikTok for more, and thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.